Good afternoon, Mr. Sandy. My name is Steve Josias Quispechuquehuanca. And to my formative research work, I'm going to read the Bible. So I'm going to start. Mm, the book of John. John 1, chapter 1. In the beginning was the one who is called the Word. The Word was with God and was truly God from the very beginning. The Word was with God. And with this Word, God created all things. Nothing was made without the Word. Everything that was created received its life from Him, and His life gave light to everyone. The light keeps shining in the dark, and darkness has never put it out. God sent a man named John who called to tell about the light and to lead all people to have faith. John wasn't his light. He came only to tell about the light. The true light that shines on everyone was coming into the world. The Word was in the world, but only knew him. Thought God had made the world with his word. He came into his own world, but his own nation did not welcome him. Yet some people accept him and put their faith in him. So he have then the right to be the children of God. They were not God's children by nature or because of any human desires. God himself was the one who made them his children. The Word came a human being and lived here with us. We saw his true glory and the glory of the only Son of the Father. From him the complete gifts of undeserved grace and truth have come down to us. John spoke about him and shouted, "This is the one I told you would come. He is greater than I am, because he was alive before I was born. Because of all that the Son is, we have been given one blessing after another. The law was given by Moses, but Jesus Christ brought us undeserved kindness and truth. No one has ever seen God, the only Son who is truly God and is closest to the Father, has shown us what God is like." Chapter 2. Jesus at a wedding in Cana. 3 days later, Mary, the mother of Jesus, was at a wedding feast in the village of Cana in Galilee. Jesus and his disciples had also been invited and were there. When the wine was all gone, Mary said to Jesus, "They don't have any more wine." Jesus replied, "Mother, my time wasn't yet come. You must not tell me what to do." Mary then said to the servants, "Do whatever Jesus tells you to do." At the feast there were 6 stone water jars that were used by the people for washing themselves in the way what their, their religion says they must. Each heart held about 100 liters. Jesus told the servants to fill them to the top with water. Then, after the jars have been filled, he says, "Now take some water and give it to the man in charge of the feast." The servants did as Jesus told them, and the man in the charge dark drank some of the water that had now turned into wine. He did not know where the wine had come from, but the servants did. He called the bridge room over and said, "The best wine is always served first, but you have kept the best until last." This was first miracle of Jesus, and he did in the village of Cana in Galilee. There Jesus showed his glory, and his disciples put their faith in him. After this, he went with his mother, his brother, and his disciples to the town of Capernaum, where they stayed for a few days. Jesus in the temple. Not long before the Jewish festival of Passover, Jesus went to Jerusalem. There he found people selling cattle, sheep, and doves in the temple. He also saw money changers sitting at their tables. So he took some rope and made a whip. Then he chased everyone out of the temple together with their sheep and cattle. He turned over the tables of the money changers and scattered their coins. Jesus said to the people who have been saying doves, "Get those doves out of here. Don't make my father's house a marketplace." The disciples then remember what the scriptures says, "My love for your house burns in me like a fire." The Jewish leaders asked Jesus, "What miracle will you work to show us why you have done this?" "Destroy this temple," Jesus answered, "and in 3 days I will build it again." The leaders replied, it took for 46 years to build this temple. What makes you think you can rebuild it in 3 days? But Jesus was talking about the body as a temple. And when he was raised from death, his disciples remembered what he had told them. Then they believed the scriptures and the words of Jesus. Jesus knows what people are like. In Jerusalem during Passover, many people put their faith in Jesus because they say him worked miracles. But Jesus knew what was in their hearts, and he would not let them have power over him. No one had to tell him what people were like. He already knew. Chapter 3. Jesus and Nicodemus. There was a man named Nicodemus who was a Pharisee and a Jewish leader. One night he went to Jesus and said, "Rabbi, we know that God has sent you to teach us. You could not work these miracles unless God were with you." Jesus replied, "I tell you for certain that you must be born from above before you can see God's kingdom." Nicodemus asked, "How can a grown man ever be born a second time?" Jesus answered, "I tell you for a certain that before you can get into God's kingdom, you must be born not only by water, but by the Spirit. Humans give life to their children, yet only God's Spirit can change you into a child of God. Don't be surprised when I say that you must be born from above. Only God's Spirit gives new life. The, the Spirit is like the wind that blows wherever it wants to. You can hear the wind, but you don't know where it comes from or where it is going." "How can this be?" Nicodemus asked. Jesus replied, "How can you be a teacher of Israel and not know these things? I tell you for certain, we know what we are talking about because we have seen it ourselves, but none of you will accept what we say. If you don't believe when I talk to you about things of earth, how can you possibly believe if I talk to you about things in heaven?" No one has gone up to heaven except the Son of Man, who come down from there. And the Son of Man must be lifted up, just as the metal snake was lifted us up by Moses in the desert. Then everyone who has faith in the Son of Man will have eternal life. God loved the people of his word so much that gave his only Son, so that everyone who has faith in him will have eternal life and never really die. God did not send his Son into the world to condemn its people, have sent him to save them. No one who has faith in God's Son will be commended, but everyone who doesn't have faith in him has already been condemned for not having faith in God's only Son. The light has come into the world, and people who do evil things are judged quite quickly because they love the dark more than the light. People who do evil hide the light and won't come to the light because it clearly shows what they have done. But everyone who lives by the truth will come to the light because they want others to know that God is really the one doing what they do. Jesus and John the Baptist. Later, Jesus and his disciples went to Judea, where he stayed with them for a while and was baptizing people. John had not yet been put in jail. He was at Ainon near Salim, where there was a lot of water, and people were coming there for John to baptize them. John's followers got into an argument with a Jewish man about a ceremony of washing. They went to John and said, Rabbi, you spoke about a man when you were with him east of the Jordan. He is now baptizing people, and everyone is going to him. John replied, no one can do anything unless God in heaven allows it. You surely remember how I told you that I am not the Messiah. I am only the one sent ahead of him. At a wedding, the groom is one who gets married. The best man is glad just be there and to hear the groom's voice. That's why I am so glad. Jesus must become more important while I become less important. The one who comes from heaven. God's Son comes from heaven and it is above all others. Everyone who comes from the earth belongs to the earth and speaks about earthly things. The one who comes from heaven is above all others. He speaks about what he has seen and heard, and yet no one believes him. But everyone who does believe him has shown that God is truthful. The Son was sent to speak God's message, and he has been given the full power of God's Spirit. The Father loved the Son and has given him everything. Everyone who faith in the Son has eternal life, but no one who rejects him will ever share in that life, and God will be angry with them forever. And this is the first part of my formative research work. Um, Thank you.